Welcome to HBCU Her Voice, a place where we celebrate the powerful voices and stories of remarkable women from historically Black colleges and universities. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington, a proud HBCU graduate myself. I'm thrilled to bring you this platform dedicated to amplifying the voice of our community. We dive into inspiring stories of resilience, success, and the incredible impact these women are making in the world. From trailblazing entrepreneurs to innovative leaders, we bring you the stories that matter, showcasing how HBCU experiences shape paths and fuel passions. We'll explore challenges, victories, and wisdom. Whether you're an HBCU alum, a student, faculty member, supporter, or simply someone who believes in the power of diverse voices, we are so glad to have you. So listen up as we share insights, celebrate achievements, and uplift our community. Together, we can inspire the next generation of leaders and ensure our voices are heard loud and clear. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. Whoa, a grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. I'm your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from H-Town, Houston, Texas, baby. At the time that I'm recording this, we are preparing for a wintry mix. So play for this Southern girl. She's not really up for the elements, but I got to do what I got to do. And let me tell you something. I've been saying these on this next round of podcasts. Y'all say, what happened to the other podcast? Baby, the other podcast is here and thriving. It's the HBCU Her Voice podcast. We bring the most amazing guests today. It's no different. She back there warming up in what we like to call the green room. And I tell them all the time, they know by the time they leave this place, this old crazy girl in Houston, Texas loves this place and absolutely loves their stories. Without any further waiting time, we're going to have this guest come to the stage and do our normal drill. She'll tell us her name, where she's streaming from, which HBCU she's repping, and we'll hear a little about her HBCU story. Without any further ado, here's my very fabulous guest for today.
Hello there. This is Lani Shaw. I'm so happy to join you today. I'm joining from National Harbor, Maryland, where I live. And my HBCU story started at Hampton University, where I attended undergrad, and then it continued at Howard University School of Law. So I am very blessed to have two HBCU stories.
See, she's talking about HU and HU. Is that what I heard?
The battle today.
Oh, it's a battle today. We got some deep heritage here. I was just telling the last guest, she was a Howard young lady. She was a relationship coach. And I said, I might as well just call this particular segment of podcast the Howard edition. So all you other folk out there watching it, oh, when can I be on the show? Come on and rep your school. But these Howard girls and took over the platform. They have been here all day showing out and doing what they do in great fashion. But behind this lady, she's done a lot of miraculous things. I know she's sitting here, so beautiful and poised, but I told her I've been all through her business and we have to talk about some of these things that we need to bring to the forefront because this lady is a distinguished lawyer. She is doing some things for our community that I am very, very proud of. So I want to stop first and give you your roses. And
Thank you.
For her being here because she had to go through traffic. We had to do some rescheduling, but she's still here shining bright. So we don't stop and we don't stop and not give folks roses when they come and hang out on this podcast with this old crazy girl from Houston, Texas. But she has spent most of her career navigating spaces where she's only one or two Black women lawyers in the place. And y'all, that's heavy. I want to ask you personally about visibility and really how that taught you leadership and preparation and most importantly self-trust, because sometimes I know for me, girl, my 13-year career in financial services, particularly the last 7 at a company that was basically a foreign company with American presence, I was like a triple minority.
Mm-hmm.
I was Black, American, and a woman. Ain't crazy. So we're gonna talk about
All right.
So I want you to tell me about that stance and really how just that along and navigating in that reality really taught you about self-trust and kind of the preparation piece behind that.
That is a great question. And I have been an attorney for 20 years. I'm very proud of that. And when I first started my career, it was a little bit difficult to navigate because I was one or two only Black women in the room as an attorney. But I felt that both of my HBCU experiences really prepared me for that, for being in that space, because I came to, my organization with a deep sense of who I am, already knowing what I brought to the table, the skill set that I offered, and that I could do the work. My confidence level was always at an all-time high. And so I knew that no matter what was said to me, how, it took time to navigate spaces, how it took time to really lean into the leadership skills, I knew that I could do the work, and I knew that I could have a successful career if I just persevered. And I've always been around affluent or, very intelligent other African-American women. And so it's just something that came very natural to me to know that I could succeed in those spaces. And from my church, Afro Street Baptist Church, being a part of that community, and then also being a part of the National Bar Association, I was always a person that had different networks that I could lean on. So if something got a little bit tough, I knew where I could go. So that was always helpful as well. But it's always just been a really good experience, because even though I came from a space where I was one of just a few in the beginning, I always reached back so that I could help others that were coming into the organization, because I always said, well, what type of mentor would I have wanted? What type of support would I have wanted? And that is exactly what I tried to offer and to give to others that were coming into that space. And that is something that I continue to do as I work in my organization. And now I'm able to do that on a more formal basis as an executive career coach. So it kind of has all just come together for me in a way that I would say God has nicely tied it together with a bow. So I'm very happy about that.
One of the things I do love about your journey is because you have made that intentional shift to say, I'm going back and I'm going to do executive career coaching, because that's huge. Because this girl didn't have anybody
right
in her career for 7 years at that particular company that looked like her, that managed at the capacity that she managed, and for 7 whole years. And I always thought, I was like, like if I would have had a little piece of a mentor, they try to give me like a little mentor inside the company, who was a Caucasian Australian woman who had no idea about what a Black woman walk is, let alone in this country or leading at the level that I did.
No, but I'm going to challenge you on that, because some of my best mentors have been diverse mentors that have leaned in to get to know who I am and have challenged me along the way. So maybe sometimes it's not just the best fit, but I think that there are opportunities for mentorship outside of our own race.
Oh, I'm a proponent. I listen to, let me tell you, let me backtrack a little bit. Before I left, I managed a large team, multicultural, some country I had to look up before I even started to interact with the people. It changed my life forever.
Mm-hmm.
My phone is super diverse. To be honest, that's probably one of the best things that I received from being in that environment, is my ability to connect so multicultural. Like people like Sinead, you just say what they get it like this. Don't get it twisted. They get it just like this.
They love it.
But I say it, but in a way that it really transcends. So what you said, kind of before, you said if that person is willing to lean in and get to know, didn't happen. That ain't what that lady did. God bless her. This is not a tug at that, but it has to be that willingness and that level of empathy and emotional intelligence that comes with connecting with someone that may be outside of the norm. I am very open. As a matter of fact, I actually have a person I would consider a mentor that is not even American. To be quite frank, it's not Black, not American, not woman, and can talk to that person on the phone just like we talk. Like, hey, look, I ain't got this. I don't understand this. And we totally good and clean. But the issue that arose with that one, it wasn't that lean in.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that ability to be like, okay, I may not see it from your lens, your perspective, but how do I get that education piece from you, and what do I need to be more aware of to kind of help bridge our communication gaps? Did not happen. So I struggled immensely. And to be honest, that fortitude that came from my institution, I went to Houston Tilson University here in Texas, in Austin, Texas, to be exact. That is probably, and I say this all the time, me and this right and this how this thing navigated the world is probably if I had went to PWI. I don't know if I would even made it as long as I did. And this is real talk. I would not have made it as long as I did in the way that I led if it had not been for my institution. And I mean that. And I stand by that. And that's why I advocate for them so strong. Because when I went in there, nobody had even heard of that school. But by the time I left, oh, you know it, don't you? Because I'm a
You're gonna make them know.
I'm gonna make you know it because I am a product of a community that was very much inclined to pour into me. It was a smaller institution. I literally had teachers that called, like back when we had phones, we still had phones in our dorm rooms back then. So they would call it, girl, is you gonna do this and that? I had a teacher, God rest his soul, Dr. Bay, my chemistry professor, who whenever I was leaving to go to Houston, he would make sure, hey, you got gas in your car? Don't you stop in this town. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. You get on that road, be on that road by 3 or 4 o'clock. And that was my community of people who build a foundation to me that's unshakable. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways beyond my very own household that taught community, it was further enhanced when I stepped on that campus and nobody can tell me different. Yeah. So I just say that in all love and to tell you, thank you for showing up to be that career coach. Because there are people that are in spaces still today. Wow, girl, because this phone here got so many contacts with people that's still in the game, trying to figure it out, and they got no support, zero support. And if they do have some support, they could have some pseudo support like I did. There really wasn't coming.
And I always tell people,
you
have to find your people. And that means a lot to me because, people talk about, finding your board of directors, finding your village, because I say that a lot too. But at the end of the day are you my person? Are you a person that is in my corner that's going to support me? That when I tell you what my goals are, when I tell you where I want to stretch, you're like, yes, Lani, you can do that. Or are you going to be like, oh, girl, why would you want to do that? Nobody has time. Life is too short to be thinking, now I have to convince you that I'm going to do this and do that while I'm trying to do it. No. So if someone is not rocking with you, let's say that's just not my person. I respect them for what they've been in my life, but now it's time to move on.
It's time
to
move on.
That's a little coaching moment.
We know you're a whole coach behind there. And that's what we want you to do, to share those nuggets really in authentic light, because it really transforms and changes the way that people see things. So we have these conversations. I say, listen now, you ain't gonna watch no Sinead Washington podcast. I don't care what the name of the podcast. You're not gonna walk away from this podcast not learning something. Right. We don't operate, like you just said, life's too short. We don't operate in that. So we make sure that when people are coming through here, they are ushering their nuggets in a way that it creates a ripple effect. So just by you being here and saying, okay, gotta push past Miss Shaw a little bit. Because this is pushing past you, because you can keep all this knowledge and experience and walk around the world.
We don't gatekeep, right? It's not what the girl is saying. We don't gatekeep. We share.
It's still a bunch of them out there, but we're not the.
Hey, you know what? When you have an abundance mindset and you know that what God has for you is going to be for you, you will never care about what you're giving other people, the nuggets of wisdom, what have you, because there's enough to go around. And I know you feel that way. Because otherwise you wouldn't be interviewing women on your podcast. This is part of your mission, your opportunity to give back, because you're sharing inspiring stories from other empowering women. You have to, because,
and it is an adage. I had to be the change that I wanted to see. Mm-hmm. Before, when I left corporate America, and I spent some time like on the entrepreneur side trying to figure out what people do. And I don't even know nothing about no business. Like, what is this even about? And like going to these different rooms. And there were some rooms with people that looked just like you and me. Okay. Had some of the same ideas as what they may have wanted. But that space was not safe. And that energy flow was not pure enough for Sinead Washington with her black old self in Houston, Texas to even be in those rooms. Mm-hmm. So I said, now wait a minute. That flustering that you feel, that shaking that you feel, That's your call. That's up to you to that's
Well,
up to you to
trust your
trigger some magic
intuition.
on.
That's what you're
You
speaking
have to
on
you
now.
have to
You have
trust
to
it.
trust that. Yeah.
So when I said, and then somebody approached me like when I first started, like, oh, you don't have a podcast one day. I was like, oh, that's just kind of cliche. I don't want a podcast. I'm talking about a podcast. I pushed this away for so long. I didn't feel like this was something that I would walk out and do. But it's become the most transformative thing in my brand that I've done today. The most transformative thing that I have done in my brand to date. Where else in the world would I probably have talked to Miss Lani Shaw? Where else?
It's by chance that we communicate.
Nah, it's by divine. It's by divine order.
By divine order. Yes.
It's by divine order.
That I saw that though. I don't know, and I don't know. Ordinarily, I would have. And then today, it lines up that we're actually having this conversation.
We're in the same color.
We're in the same color, looking like sisters.
looking like real sisters. So I said, I told Lord, I said, Lord, if I ever do it, it got to come out clear. It can't have no wishy-washy stuff. Even if somebody steps in this place and challenges a thought or the paths just don't cross intellectually or whatever, you honor them and you give them the space to say it. Yeah. Period.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to say this before I forget. My sister will tell you that I went to Howard Law School because she was at Howard Law School. But that's a story for another day because...
you followed your sister there?
That's what she tells people.
You did. you followed her there. You was like,
honestly, had she not been at Howard, I don't know if I would have been able to live in DC. Like, I always thought like DC is such a big city. Hampton is a little small town, and I chose it because I thought I would get a great education. It's beautiful by the water. I love that scenery. But Howard was a jump because you're in the city. DC is something else. And I'm going to say I'm so happy that I selected both schools, but I would have never landed in DC had it not been for Howard. And to say that I still live in the DMV.
That's your place. And see, my place. And this is what most people don't. Well, some people watch the podcast know, but I got accepted into Howard, and Howard was my school. And Houston Wilson only came about 6 weeks prior to us having to do it, because that's when we asked it, and I was like, oh God, I'm gonna for real leave that far. It's gonna be that cold. I literally had like a moment, girl. I was in my room bawling, crying, and my grandfather came in and was like, what's wrong, baby? I was just like, I don't know if I can do it. But he said, well, you need to think about it. And we had someone at our church that was on the board at Houston Tillotson. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's late, and housing and stuff is limited. He's like, let me see what I can do, and you need to come up here next weekend and see the school. Houston Tillotson was nowhere on the ranks.
Wow.
It was not even. I was like, matter of fact, I had already was talking on the phone to a roommate. She was from New Jersey. I was Howard bound, and something I was like, oh no, I can't do it. Mind you, I was a very sheltered child.
And I get that.
It became like too much for me. And then you always kind of have those fork in the road moments. And that's probably one of my earliest fork in the road moments, to where like, which path are you gonna go? But it went in the wash. I do honestly think, as much as I probably would have absolutely loved the Howard experience, if for somebody like me that was just so sheltered, believe it or not, shy, it may have been a bit of an overwhelm for me as a 17, 18-year-old girl from Houston, Texas at that. So,
you understand why I don't say I followed her, but I ended up in DC because, it was safe. We could live together. She stayed an extra year after she graduated and worked locally to make sure I was okay.
Aww.
So, I've always had support and a good community of people, family around me. So that warms my heart. And that's why I give back to others, because everybody doesn't have what you had with your professor or what I had. It's good when we can say that we had it, but everybody didn't have either a grandmother or this or that.
No, and also to their college experience, that was probably my first peek into developing like kind of early adult empathy, early adult kind of lens of the world. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, it was like, oh, that's normal for y'all. Y'all do that. That's when I started to see context of different households and different dynamics. And that's how you talk to your mom. That's like just different things. Girl, I was on a pre-AP life course, and then had the real school work, but then learn these people's lives and how they to me, it was like, it was kind of fascinating because even, in high school, even though it was kind of a rougher type high school, here in the Houston area, it was still a level of me that was just so sheltered. A lot of people, they're like, you came from over there. You seem like you did all right for yourself. Like I made it out. But going to college was a whole different like ball game with just learning people's stories. And you right, the support system and many of those young folks, they didn't have.
And I'm a banking lawyer. I don't know if you know that. And so that's what I try to go out and let people know. You know what? Let me tell you about how this works. Think about it. Think outside the box. Try to do something that is not something that you anticipated. Try to live a little.
Financial services and law.
That's my area of expertise.
That's area. Girl, I know you was
But I will say, I don't know, something about it. And people have told me this recently. They're like, yeah, you've been a lawyer for 20 years, you still practice, but it seems like you found your passion with coaching. That makes me feel a certain kind, like, oh wow, for someone to notice that and to speak that into me, that's amazing. And I've had so much success from that career in just the year that I started, because I've only been a coach for a year. But when I help a woman get promoted to her next leadership level, or I help a woman say, oh, well, now I want to do, pivot my career, start a side business or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, you trust me with that? That is an amazing feeling. And then for me to be able to see the results that they have, I feel all kinds of ways of blessed from God. Let me tell you. I know I didn't say that right, but it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to help someone and to support them because, our communities depend on Black women. And when Black women are making the salaries that they deserve to make, or when Black women are able to, start their own career, start their own business and do something outside the box for themselves, that not only helps their confidence level and everything else, but that helps them to show up for their families and their communities. So, I'm just saying, this is what we do.
and that, that's the ripple effect. So it must be something that lights up in you when you do it. For people to say that, come back on and just kind of like, this podcast, they be like, you're just going to talk to anybody. Yeah, your girl do be on here just talking to.
But you know what? It lands with people. You're talking to people. You're able to have these conversations that matter. Don't take that lightly.
And sometimes I be wanting to put a sign up, don't talk to me, girl, because your girl ain't.
Well, you probably talk a lot, right? Because you got to do you have back-to-back. Are you an introvert?
I am.
So and you want your quiet time. You have to prioritize.
And people don't, and I'm so happy you said that. I can almost give you a hug, girl, because most people, because they see me here, they don't believe that. They do not believe that. They're like, I'm like, when this light and stuff go off, I need to go read a book. I need to go lay down. Like, I don't, like, personally.
You can recharge. You can say, I know I'm going to do it another day, but for now, let me have my space, right? Just let me do what I need to do. Read your book, like you said.
Yeah, have to read the book. Because in a person, like, I'm not the type that's going to sit on the phone with you all day. I'm not the friend that, like, don't call me every day, like, going to work. Like, don't call me, like.
Don't call every day. Just don't call every day.
Every day is overwhelmed for me. Like, I don't.
Could that have been a text? Did you really need to call me? Are you that person?
Oh, they trained over here. They know to text. Like, girl, they say, girl, answer the phone. Okay, this is an emergency. They have a system with me. They know it's only one person on this earth that I talk to every single day, and that's just because who she is. That's my grandmother. Even my grandfather, he's still alive. He still has some challenges. He's 81 years old, approaching 82. And even if he wouldn't be sick or whatever, me and my grandfather, we wouldn't have talked every day if he could still talk on the phone. The only person on this earth that I talk to every day outside of, because my son is in his house.
You talk to your grandmother
every day.
That's your person.
Multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And it don't even, I don't, like, as much as I talk to her on the phone, it don't even seem like I should be recording the podcast, doing it. But like, how do you even have time? I don't know. It's like time stop for her.
You make
and that's just how it goes. But other than that, I'm like, baby, please don't call you good every day, because I don't have it. Like, I don't. And I'm so happy you called that out, because most people get it wrong. Most people think that I'm just this extrovert everywhere I go. Because if you were to meet me like in a professional setting, like in a conference or somewhere, or anywhere, I'm going to be the person. I typically sit in the front, but I'm going to have a notebook. I'm going to be very quiet. I'm really not going to ask no question unless I really feel like it's an intentional question. I don't do fluff questions. Like I just have to say something. That's it. Now, if we sit next to each other and we start cutting up a little bit, then
that's different, right?
But I'm not going to be that girl that's going to be all.
Yeah. So, I think people assume that if you're able to hold conversations and you're doing your podcast and you can talk, lead training, whatever it is, that you're an extrovert. But that's not always true. Most people that I know that are able to do that are introverts. And then they're just like taking a day to themselves after that. Right? I need some time to unwind.
Because we need it. Yeah. I wanted you to talk to me about your energy track because, you've had to navigate probably through some tough times, like you say, being like, the only one. And, you always said you had the mental fortitude and the support and all these different things. But then there's like, have you ever felt like there is a need for me? I have to perform. Like I have to get this right because maybe all eyes are on me because I am who I am in the room. Tell me about the emotional energy because I talked to a guest, I think yesterday, and I asked her this question and she, it stumped her, but I told her, my response to it because my thing was this, my great grandmother, I had the privilege of meeting 3 great grandmothers and a great grandfather. So I consider myself very blessed for that. But one of my great grandmothers told me this before I started my career. She said, baby, when you go in there, you're going to have to work 2 times as hard as them. You're going to have to stay on the straight line. This is her experience. So
that's her experience.
We give her grace. And she said, baby, you're going to have to work 2 times as hard. You go in there, you put your head down, you get your work done, and you do it. She said, you don't basically telling me, go in there and while that seems so small, at the time she said it, and I was just so young, I did not realize that actually planted seeds into some of my performance when I first started my career earlier on. Because sometimes we have to get back to the root of things. So when I first started my career, I was that worker. I worked everybody. I did. I was I could, at the time I was working financial services and we would work like a work queue. We were, it was like a trading floor, like you see on TV, you're banking. So I worked in investment banking. So we would be like the back office support. So when all these trades would be going across, we were the team that made sure they settled. So we had setup instructions and wired instructions that had to be in the system. So we had a work queue. And I managed the work queue, but I worked in that work queue a lot and it didn't really transition to managing that queue to quite some time because I was so engulfed in bam, pushing it out. Because I'm like, not on my watch. We're not going to have a whole bunch of problems, this, that, and the other. But what happened is that was one of the first things that kind of pushed me into the burnout. And then also I said, look, it really wasn't until my back was against the wall that my voice actually emerged. And my voice was buried on the layers and layers of overworking, putting my head down, and just getting the job done. And that ended up not being good enough. So when I say not being good enough, in my book, I did my best, of course. But when I say not good enough, I meant for the system that was at play. Because Sinead showed up with integrity. Sinead showed up with the job. So that's what I meant by I wanted to make sure I clarified that. So for me, my energy just in my being, in my delivery, it completely changed when I moved away from that system because what happens is that I became very masked. Okay. This is when I was just teaching with this thing. I don't know. I typically have my mask that I wore that said all the different things. So my energy bank was already running and depleted really before I even started.
Yeah.
I was already depleted because there had to be this image. I didn't have a lot of room for error, not only because we did with heavy volume trades, but because I was this color in that space. And it was just some stuff that other people doing that was not going to fly for Sinead Washington. So I was having to stay in.
I get your point.
Sync.
So I'll say energy management is not something that they teach you, right? They don't teach you that or law school or business school or wherever you are, it's something that you have to learn to prioritize at some point throughout your career. And I think that most younger professionals will be in a space where they feel the pressure to perform and the pressure to do every project that's assigned to them, and of course to be perfect at that. And so that type of pressure can and normally will cause burnout, and it will cause it quickly. And so as a coach, I work to help professionals understand the signs of burnout before they get there, because the risk of burnout doesn't decrease as you move up in your career. As you move up in your career, you're taking on additional responsibilities, additional roles, you're leading additional people, you're managing. And so the risk of burnout increases. So what I will say is that it's important to have various systems in place as soon as you can to help you to, prioritize things like rest, being able to, feel comfortable to take your vacation time, things like that, having the support system in place so that you can manage your energy. Because if not, it just will lead you down this path that's not sustainable. And then you'll look up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I said I was going to do these things and I'm not doing it. I'm not prioritizing my workouts, or I'm not prioritizing eating healthy. I'm, ordering the takeout. And so I think you really have to make a decision at some point to say, wait a minute, what are the things that I hold close? What are the things that I say are my values? And how am I going to, prioritize those things, including the rest? I tell people, if you're not taking your vacations, if you're not, having at least one day on your weekend so that you can just completely, have an opportunity to recharge, you're going to go through the cycle where you're just always tired, always burnt out. And so it's important that you build these systems in place. So I'll say that, which kind of does fall in line with what you were saying, because you were feeling this pressure to be perfect when you were working, in that. Yes, and I can understand that the corporate world is high impact, high touch. There's not a lot of room for error, right? And so you can internalize that, have things in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And there's always that pressure to perform, that pressure to get things right, that pressure to do more work, to be more available. That doesn't help us. But it's just this wheel, the mouse running on the wheel. At some point, you got to decide you're going to get off.
Yes, and do it in a way that you don't have to be such a blow. Because I think when I had to get off that hamster wheel, I had to take a gut blow. I did. But I tell people it's the most transformative thing that could have happened to me. It really did, because it forced me into a level of self-work that I didn't even think that I needed. Right. I didn't even think that it was going to occur at that time, when it was just so much other stuff going on in the world. But for me to have so much internal conflict, and it really was a battle with identity, had to reclaim myself in the way that my father sees me. So when I am here, this clarity comes directly from that moment.
Absolutely.
That's where it comes from. So that's why I encourage people to do the work and check energy, because the first thing you said is like, they don't teach that. They're not teaching us about how to monitor our energy banks. And, really when we just stop and say, look, I'm a little bit depleted, I'm running on low. What do I need to do to fill this thing up? So right now in this stage of life, everything that people get in this podcast, different places, that is overflow, because Sinead's going to fill everything up. And the energy that you get, that you get the overflow. This is a selfish time, because that thing that I'm operating on is full. And then when I get all the way up there, Lord, I say, Lord, now amplify this overflow so they can reach and touch as many people as you designed it to be fit. And that's where it goes. So, it wasn't easy, but it was well worth it, because I feel like if I wouldn't have made that particular shift, and I've had some tough pivots along the way, I wouldn't have arrived here.
Mm-hmm. By any means. Arrived.
Yeah, by any means necessary. And I tell people I can never go back. So people are learning it and maybe not adjusting or not adjusting to this new version, this new place here with me that has boundaries, which brings me to my next. Bam! I got to ask you about boundaries, girl.
There you go. Let's do it. That was good. You're like, let me get to
let me bridge to boundaries, because girl, that's another thing that we don't really just teach real good how we should be teaching it. Because boundaries can make or break you. It really can really, really make or break you. I want you to kind of talk to me about boundaries in kind of two phases. The first part is just tell me about some hardcore boundaries you may have had to set in your career or maybe outside of your career. You talk about a hardcore boundary. Now, this other part, because as someone who coaches to a level and mentors to a level, baby, I have to set boundaries to them folks I help. Because here's the thing about that in mindset. This thing is constantly moving. I tell people, I don't care if I'm a podcast host, a corporate woman, whatever, two things will always remain the same in any season of my life. And I know this because I know who I am. I'm a servant and a forever learner. If I die tomorrow, put that on my obituary. Them the only two adjectives, all that other stuff. Oh, she was intellectual. I don't care. Those are my two words.
Yeah.
So every morning, Shanadra Washington, are you operating as a servant and as a continual learner? That's all you got to answer for. All this other stuff these folks is saying, it don't matter. It's your core. And you have already received the deposit from him that those are your two words.
Yeah.
So that's how you start the day. That's how you end the day. Period. So because of that, and that is my life's mantra, and try to fight me in the street, y'all out there. Y'all know I don't play with y'all. That's my life's mantra. I have to protect my energy banks. Because with that life's mantra and making it a strong declaration, that means that it's going to be a lot of folks I come in contact with that really won't know how to deal with that. That's really maybe too much. It really made me all this. So I can't go to the slums of your mind with you and stay there.
Absolutely. So let's talk about boundaries, because when I think about boundaries, I'm really thinking about what are my non-negotiables? Where is it that I need to have, some rules or some order in my life to protect myself? And that's really what a boundary is. And when I think about one boundary that's non-negotiable for me, it really is my workout schedule. I like to run. It is one way that I really clear my head. It helps me to stay in shape. And if I don't get my run in 3 to 4 times a week, I'm bothered by that. So I have built time in my calendar for my run. People know not to schedule during that time because that's my time. And so that's one boundary that's important to me. Another boundary would be, protecting your time off, because I tell my clients that if you're out of the office and you're on vacation, your out of office should say that, and you should not be responding to email. Because if you are a manager and you're responding to email during your out of office time, you're really not, sharing or modeling a work-life balance for the team that you are managing. And so I ask people to think about that as well. You really should be modeling wellness and self-care, that people protect their boundaries, and you shouldn't have people that report to you that are thinking, well, I need to be available all the time, or that I don't have any boundaries. I don't think people respect folks that don't have boundaries. I think of it like dating. If you don't have boundaries in dating, people don't respect that. I think that it works very, very much the same in your career, in your work life, in your family life. Tell people how you want to be treated. Tell people how they need to respect your boundaries, and people will fall in line toward that. I know those are difficult conversations to have with folks about your boundaries. But the moment that you are able to navigate those and talk about what your boundaries are, people rise to the occasion. So you have to give people an opportunity to do that. So I will say that boundaries are so important, and I hope people will see that, and that people will not be afraid to let folks know what their boundaries are and to actually put those things into practice, because it really is a boundary is really a system to help you to sustain your success without reaching a burnout level. And to the extent that you can do that, you're going to be able to move further along. So there you have it.
She said, y'all better have some boundaries in y'all real life, just like y'all out here dating and talking about boundaries.
Hey, I think I'm a dating coach in my spare time. Don't ask me what my success rate is, but I like to hook people up.
Girl, I just told you I spoke with a relationship coach. When I tell you I almost had tears in my eyes from the last interview from laughing so hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta watch that one then. Yeah, you gotta have some boundaries in your life. You can't be out here just saying whatever you want rolls. No. She talking about a boundary period, and you're like, it's how crazy it is out here with the date and all different things that go on. But when I tell you that was a hilarious episode, and she had some crazy boundaries, but those were hers. Hey, I tell you. Let
And
me
if
tell you
those are the ones that work for you, then own that and say that just because this is not a boundary for you or this is a boundary for me, that may or may not work for me, and have the power to move how you need to move.
yeah, that's
Man,
right.
let's talk about alignment. Alignment is good. Oh, it's a good and juicy topic if you really, if you really talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what I get from you, I get clarity, impact. I got a little healthy. Say, oh, I got to work out. I got to eat healthy.
Oh,
There's some
right
faith.
on.
There's some peace. Oh, I want you. I do this. I really do this. Uh, that's what I have observed in terms of alignment for you. Those are like the buzzwords I just got. I love that. Tell me about alignment. Has it shifted over time? Because there was times I thought I was aligned. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And it comes with evolution, and it comes with learning yourself and all this kind of different things. But talk about your journey with alignment, excuse me, and really has that evolved over time.
Yeah, so I think being aligned comes from if you believe in God. For me, for instance, having that quiet time with God, and also having an opportunity to pray and to hear from Him. I think that will help you to become more aligned in what it is that you're actually seeking, and hoping that what you're seeking will line up to His will. Now, when I think about alignment in terms of my career, there are always I thought that I wanted, positions that I applied for or maybe did not get. And when you look back in hindsight, you think about all the things that God protected you from. Because there are things in your life, whether it's a career, one aspect of your career, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a move to a new city, that for some reason did not fall into place for you. You have to always look back and say, well, what was that about that? Because that's what I truly thought that I wanted. And the only thing that I can say is it must have been the will of God that said, I want her to move in a different direction. And you have to be okay with that. And to me, that means that you have to always be in a position to listen so that you can figure out what those steps are for you to move forward. And that makes just a world of difference in order to try to have some clarity on how you're setting your goals, how you're moving, how you're operating, how you're moving in a space. And I think a lot of times alignment can come from your clarity in terms of if you take a step and you learn something about yourself through that step, whether it's I thought that I wanted this job, so I did the interview, but something about the interview did not go right. Well, then that's clarity, and now you can move toward whatever the true alignment for you is. Don't be afraid to take action, because action helps you to decide what your next steps are and helps you to get more aligned with your goals. There's never a problem with saying, okay, something did not work out, let's move in a different direction. I know a lot of times people are fearful of that because they're thinking, well, how are people going to perceive that? Care less about how people perceive it. Care more about if you're moving toward God's will.
Absolutely, moving toward God's will, and I think, at least for me, to make it personal, younger in my journey,
Mm-hmm.
I felt, that I was trying to do that. But as I've matured and I learned more about Him and Him growing in me and me walking this thing, what a beautiful journey with alignment. What a beautiful time this is for me, and really understanding what that really means. Because even when I thought I was aligned, there was still the vision of that was still skewed by many things that didn't really have anything to do with Him. And I thought I was
Yeah.
doing okay, but there was still a lot of different things, of course, with age and maturity levels and stuff,
Right.
that I was confusing really with alignment. So I want to thank you, of course, for sharing that. And they always say that His rejection is our protection.
Amen to that. Because I think about all that I thought that I wanted in my 20s and my 30s. And now in my 40s, I'm so glad I did not get those things.
Oh, me
Because I'm
so.
better off for it. So that's just my thought. But there's no problem with making a pivot. I think a lot of times because I'm older than you, but when people get to this age, they're like, oh, I'm afraid to fail. Please don't be afraid of that. I wish people would just take an opportunity. As I say to myself, I write this in my planner. I'm going to always bet on myself. I don't care how old I am at a certain age.
Okay.
If it's something that I want to do and I see that it's aligned, I'm going to at least try it.
I love
Bet
it.
on yourself. Take an opportunity along the way. As things get tough, I tell my clients, you got to give yourself a little bit of grace as you're navigating,
Mm,
but
yeah,
always take a chance on yourself. It will pay off. It'll pay dividends.
it will pay. I want to ask you this question because there is definitely someone who is listening that may be very successful on paper. Oh, the resume look real good, it's shining. Because I was this girl, real good, it's
Yeah.
shining. Okay, you got this. You do going up the corporate ladder, as they say, and all the things. Okay, but in real life, you exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, you probably should pivot, but you're scared. In real life, everything that's glittering, nah, it
Yeah.
ain't really gold. What would you want them to hear right now?
I would really, I mean, this is not a sales call, but I would really say, think about working with a coach because there are points in my career. I've had a 20-year government career, still work in government. There are points in my career where I felt stuck. I did not know how to navigate. I did not know what the next step was or how to get there. Coaching really does provide clarity. And if not just for you to make a decision, but for you to at least figure out what it is that you want and to figure out how to move forward. It can help you to really set your goals, and it can give you an accountability partner, someone that's always going to be in your corner as you're navigating. If you're thinking, I'm in a spot where I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I feel stuck, I'm exhausted because I'm working all the time, something's got to give. Well, now might be the time to think about that. I have clients that will tell me, okay, Coach Lani, when I first started working with you, I didn't want to work with you because I thought that I needed to have it all figured out before I started working with you. That couldn't be further from the truth. That's the role of a coach, is to ask you the questions that will help you to move forward. The coaching isn't about me telling you what to do. It's me realizing that you come to the coaching session whole, able to navigate yourself, but it's really good for you to have a coach in your corner. And it's just almost like a warm blanket, I say, because, it feels really good to be able to talk to someone during a session and to be thinking about, oh my gosh, something amazing happened. Now I feel great about going to tell my coach about it. So, if you're at this point in your career or you're experiencing some things in your life where you're thinking, I want to make a change, but I'm unsure about how to navigate that, you might be a perfect candidate for coaching.
Absolutely. And guys, please do not take coaching lightly. I am someone who, if I am not in a formal coaching program with somebody directly, there is something I'm always listening to and something that I'm always depositing in me. And I tell you guys that all the time. I am super laser focused. Like when you say alarm, it's always going to be some type of development. And I really am not the person that I am without that level of development. Been a reader a long time, my entire life. And there's always been something in me because I told you I've met grandparents and great grandparents that has leaned on wisdom. And because of that, I am in line with hearing it from a variety of people. And one of the things I love that you said, there is no getting it all together before you come to a coach. And let's just say by chance you think you got it all together and you come to a coach, you don't know what's up ahead that may take everything else off kilter. So you come as you are to get the help that you need. If you're coming in with all these blinders trying to act like you got it all together, then are you really truly there for the purpose that you need? Because when I go, I got questions, especially the girl that is good and made a little investment. Now you gonna get these questions, okay? You gonna get these questions. You're gonna get this commitment. I don't miss coaching classes unless it's some kind of I mean, it gotta be crazy. Like we ain't got no lights, it's an ice storm or something, somebody done died.
But you take your coaching session serious, and you're like, I'm here for it, I'm paying for it, and I want to get my investment, and as you should. So I'm going to say, if any of your listeners want a free clarity session, I'm happy to offer that. I can give you a QR code or my booking link. I'm happy to offer 15 or 30 minutes based on whatever their needs are, just to talk through it, because sometimes it feels better if you're actually having a conversation, not a sales call, but just to be able to talk to someone.
Let's just do a clean segment. So I'm going to go off screen and you're going to give us an overarching 1 or 2 liners about your services, even though we've weaved them in through this entire interview. Just give us a 1 or 2 overarching kind of goals, a little bit about the coaching that you offer, maybe even a little bit how it's structured. Is this kind of like group coaching one-on-one? Just tell us that. And then officially give us your connection points, whether it is your social medias or your website. So we have it in one clean segment. So over to you for that.
So I am an executive career coach, and as a coach, I help my clients to gain clarity, to think about their goal setting, and to also help them hold themselves accountable as they're moving forward in their goals. My passion is helping folks prevent burnout. It is really helping folks get unstuck if they're feeling stuck in their career and not sure how to navigate to their next position. And I've helped a number of my clients actually land promotions in the last year. And so that's something that I get excited about helping clients do. But I'm able to offer one-on-one coaching on any type of topic or issue. If it's a work-life balance issue, if it's a wellness issue, self-care issue, burnout, I would be happy to chat with any of your listeners who would be wanting to have a 15 or 30-minute clarity session. Coaching does bring clarity. I'm a believer in it, and I welcome an opportunity to talk to the listeners.
I absolutely love that, and thank you. Include those details in the description box. And Lani Shaw, you came here and she said, "Oh, well, I don't talk that much. I don't, not on this podcast. We just let them tell y'all that."
You have a way of bringing it out of people.
Until we get them here, because they don't be realizing their strides, and and say it, because I can look at the form, I'm like, oh, I got it, and I see it, and I know it, and I believe it, and I know that when I get here, we're gonna get the best time, and they're gonna get the best pieces. And I hope that I tell them all the time, go back and play that again. I guarantee that you even shock yourself, even in some of these podcasts, because sometimes I look at some of the stuff, I'm like, oh, this is like gonna be a little different. I'm like, Lord, you're gonna have to have your way, because I don't know if the dots gonna be connected in this conversation.
Did they connect you?
Yeah, they connected. Look at her, she on ass. Yeah. Yes, they're connected.
Yeah, I need encouragement. But yes, you know what? I thank you that this came together the way that it did. And I'll say 24 to 36 hours, because we just talked about this. Was it yesterday? So thank you again. I applaud you on what you're doing and for you holding space with me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I also too tell y'all, it don't take a whole lot of. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, get up and do it. I had today, we, like I say, just bringing the podcast back, and I think we've had 6 or 7 ladies now within the last 36 hours. I never stop God's work. And if he said that I was going to speak to you today, we're going to do all efforts to make sure that thing is done the way it's done.
Can I quote you? It don't take a whole lot of.
Oh, it don't take a whole lot of.
I'm going to quote you. I love that.
Because, and I tell people, just come and do the thing. And I've had people who have come on the podcast and they be like in my inbox, oh my God, girl, like I didn't think it was gonna go that way, and I had this one line and this and that, and I say, and they say, well, can you send me a list of questions before I say no? And I say, you gonna come or not?
Started to ask you for questions.
And if I would have gave you my answer, you might have would have not came. But everybody who has asked me for questions, they always get to the beginning. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I say, oh, you know what you're gonna say. I say, you know exactly what you're gonna say. I say, you don't have to worry. I say, you don't have to worry about that here. I said, we got it. We're gonna get to the end of this interview, because that's my call to do. That's my call. At the end of the day, it's y'all stories, it's y'all go, but I'm accountable for holding this space in the way that I'm called to do it. And Sinead is going to do that. So I say never.
So we should not be concerned about all the details and all the extra. That's what you're saying, because you got it. I love it.
I say, I don't know what other people do on their podcast. That ain't my business. I said, that's not my business, honestly.
I'm on 2 other podcasts tomorrow, but this probably is going to be my most fun this week. So there you go.
So I don't know what I say, I don't really know what they do. That's not my business. They do it the way that they supposed to do it. And Sinead is going to always do it the way that she is supposed to do it. Okay. And I don't, when I started, I said, look, if I can't do it this way, Lord, I ain't going to be up here reading no cookie cutter 5 questions. I ain't cut like that. I can't. I can't do it like that.
Now I know that you're not.
All of our stories are so unique. And this place, and I said about every podcast, it's going to feel the same way if I met you. We have HEB out here. That's our premier stores out here in Texas. We love our HEB grocery stores. If I had met you in passing in HEB and we happened to walk up a conversation, it would not have felt different than this. Okay. And that is a space that I have to work and be very intentional to transcend right here, even in the virtual space. And that is my mission and my call when I do the work that I do. So thank you for being a part of this, girl, because you could have said no. Schedule got tricky. We had to redo some things, some traffic issues, but you came here and you came willing. You lit up when I started asking you about coaching. You lit up when I said, look, girl, you had some strides.
Thank you.
So I hope you stand in it and honor that and know that what you do is not going in vain. Because I told you in my career, if I would have had you, it may have gone differently. It didn't have to get as hard as it did my last couple of years of working. Probably didn't have to get that hard if I would have had someone I would consider an ally in my person to truly help me in a space that wanted to see me do well. So that's why I don't allow people to minimize the work they put into the earth. Sometimes you have to hear it back. That's why the spaces matter. Now listen, one of the things that I have to do better is I'm always trying to improve. I'm telling my guests, oh, come hang out with me for 30 minutes. Girl, on this side, we'll be on here an hour and change. And we don't really want to take people's time. We've been talking for 55 minutes. They don't even feel like it because we have such a good time here. But this is the part of my show where I say, listen, it's your time for final thoughts. We ask you to give us some great parting words for this space and really something that captures the essence of Lani Shaw. Just leave us some good nuggets to part with, and I'll be back to close the show.
This has been an amazing experience, and I ask all the listeners to just really not be so hard on yourself. You know, we've been going through a lot. This past year has been challenging for a lot of folks. Be easy. You know, find your people that support you, find your village, find your friends that want to support you on your goals. If you're needing additional support, think about, whether it's a mentor or a coach, what have you. But I would also say to you, as I said before, feel comfortable in betting on yourself, because if there's something that it is that you want to achieve, you know best what your work ethic is. You know best, whether you have the say so to get that done. And everything that you do does not need to be in a vacuum. So if something is your goal and you want to achieve that goal, find people that support you along the way. A lot of people that are business owners are feeling their way through it. A lot of people that have gotten a second degree are learning as they go. A lot of people that are changing careers are learning as they go as well. So never be afraid to take a chance, to make a pivot, to do something different. It can really work out for you. And so I just want to be the coach in your corner, whether I'm working with you formally or, as you know, that you can just follow me on social media to see some of the inspiring posts that I'm posting. So I just want to say, good luck to you. Good luck to whatever it is that you're envisioning that you're going to do in your future. Take care now.
I receive it on today. I receive it. And thank you for being here. And I tell people out there in the HBCU Her podcast land, when you let your voice shine and you stand in that thing, you have no idea the life that you are touching. We were not put on this place as singular beings. We are all connected in a way that some of us don't even realize. That's why I show up and I do it from a pure place, because my thing for you is that when you let your voice shine, really nobody can put it out really but you, if you really truly stand in there. And like the old folks say in church, look, I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And come on back here next time when we have another amazing woman here on the Her Voice Shines podcast, HBCU Her Voice, our partners. And we will be back in no time with another amazing woman. Until then, we love you and we're out.